I probably enjoyed playing Mr. Bean the most because he's a character who's furthest away from my own character. As a person, I don't like him at all. I think he's very odd and pretty weird and not very nice.
For decades, he made the world laugh without saying much. But behind the rubber face and silent chaos, there was always something more. Now, at 71, Rowan Atkinson is finally breaking that silence. What he has revealed isn't just surprising, it reshapes everything fans thought they knew. The quirks, the genius, the mystery. It all points to a truth long suspected but never confirmed. So why speak now, after all these years? And what exactly has he been hiding in plain sight? The brilliant mind behind the laughter. The story of Rowan Atkinson is far more than the tale of a man who made the world laugh as Mr. Bean. It is the journey of a deeply intelligent and disciplined mind that was shaped long before the spotlight ever found him. His path through education paints the picture of someone who was not only gifted, but also driven by curiosity, focus, and a genuine love for learning. From his early school years, Rowan showed clear signs of academic strength. He was not just an average student going through the motions. He stood out for his sharp thinking and quiet determination. Subjects that required reasoning and deep understanding came naturally to him, and he developed a solid foundation that would later support his remarkable achievements. At a time when many would already be exploring creative arts, Rowan was fully immersed in building a future rooted in science and logic. His academic journey took a major step forward when he enrolled at Newcastle University to study electrical and electronic engineering. This was no easy path. It demanded precision, discipline, and the ability to solve complex problems. Yet, Rowan thrived in this environment. He successfully earned his bachelor's degree, proving his capability in handling challenging concepts and technical work. His time there strengthened his analytical thinking, attention to detail, and structured approach to solving problems, skills that would later become surprisingly relevant in his comedy career. But Rowan's hunger for knowledge did not stop there. With strong ambition and a desire to push himself further, he moved on to the Queen's College, Oxford, one of the most respected academic institutions in the world. At Oxford, he pursued a master's degree in electrical engineering, diving even deeper into the world of science and research. His intellectual journey even extended into doctoral studies, showing just how committed he was to academic excellence. However, it was during this phase of his life that something unexpected and life-changing began to unfold. While fully engaged in his demanding academic work, Rowan started exploring performance and comedy through university groups like the Oxford Revue and the Experimental Theatre Club. At first, this may have seemed like a side interest, a simple break from intense studies. But gradually, it became clear that this was more than just a hobby. It was a hidden passion finally finding its way to the surface. Through these platforms, Rowan discovered his natural ability to entertain, to connect with audiences without saying much, and to express humor in a way that was unique and unforgettable. His performances began to reflect a rare blend of intelligence and creativity. He didn't abandon his academic mindset. Instead, he carried it into his comedy. This is perhaps the most fascinating part of his journey. His education did not restrict him, it empowered him. The same skills he developed while studying engineering, precision, timing, observation, and structured thinking, became the backbone of his comedic style. His ability to create perfectly timed physical humor, especially in his role as Mr. Bean, is deeply rooted in that analytical training. In the end, Rowan Atkinson's educational journey teaches a powerful lesson. It shows that one does not have to choose between being intelligent and being creative. Both can exist together, and when they do, they can produce something truly extraordinary. His life stands as proof that academic brilliance and artistic talent are not opposites. They are partners, each strengthening the other in remarkable ways. How has Mr. Bean recently been making waves? Does his fame seem to have faded with time? Let's delve deeper into the details of Mr. Bean's legacy, the truth behind the smile, and the legacy he couldn't see. As the years went by, Rowan Atkinson kept reaching heights that many people only imagine in their dreams. His career blossomed in ways that seemed almost unreal. He starred in hit films, brought life to unforgettable characters, and even lent his voice to Zazu in The Lion King. He returned to television time and again, reminding audiences of his unique brilliance. One of the most memorable moments came when he performed as Mr. Bean during the 2012 London Olympics, captivating hundreds of millions of viewers across the world. But behind all the applause and global admiration, there was a quieter, more personal story unfolding, one that many people never saw. Despite all his achievements, Rowan carried an inner struggle that never completely faded. In later interviews, he began to speak more openly, offering rare insight into what success truly felt like for him. He admitted that playing Mr. Bean, the very character that made him a global icon, was often emotionally draining. It demanded more from him than people realized. Beneath the humor and silence of the character was a heavy pressure to constantly perform, to always be good enough. He shared something even deeper. He sometimes felt like he wasn't good enough at all. This honesty surprised many. To the world, he was a genius of comedy, a master of expression without words. But in his own mind, he was still someone trying to prove himself. It was a powerful reminder that even those we admire most are often fighting silent battles. Away from the spotlight, his personal life reflected both happiness and heartbreak. His long marriage to Sunetra Sastry, which lasted over 2 decades, eventually came to an end. It marked a difficult period in his life. Yet, as life often does, it offered him another chance at happiness. He later found love again with Louise Ford, beginning a new and hopeful chapter. Some moments revealed a side of Rowan many people never expected. In one real-life incident, he showed remarkable calm and courage by helping to manage a plane mid-flight when the pilot became unconscious. It was a moment far removed from comedy, one that showed strength, presence of mind, and quiet bravery. As time passed, Rowan began to step back from roles that required intense physical comedy. Age naturally made the energetic slapstick style of Mr. Bean more difficult to maintain. Projects like Man vs. Bee served as a reminder of just how physically demanding his performances had always been. What once looked effortless was, in reality, the result of immense effort, control, and endurance. Still, his legacy only grew stronger. By 2026, Mr. Bean had reached billions of views online. New generations continued to discover him, laugh with him, and fall in love with his timeless humor. His work crossed cultures, languages, and ages, something very few entertainers ever achieve. And yet, Rowan himself remained humble, almost distant from the idea of his own greatness. Despite countless awards, worldwide recognition, and the love of millions, he often saw himself as someone still trying to meet expectations, still trying to improve, still questioning. And perhaps that is the most fascinating part of his story. The world looks at him and sees a legend, but he looks at himself and sees a work in progress. The young boy who once struggled to speak never completely stopped doubting himself. Yet, in learning to communicate without words, he gave the world something truly special: laughter that connects people everywhere. And maybe, just maybe, the truth he is only beginning to fully accept is this: he was never an imposter. He was simply a man who turned his deepest struggle into his greatest strength, and in doing so, became unforgettable. What inspired his style of comedy? For how long has he been like that? Let's dive into the details of his early struggles. The boy who couldn't speak but learned to be seen. Before the world ever burst into laughter at his expressions, before audiences across continents recognized that unmistakable raised eyebrow or that awkward, unforgettable walk, there was simply a quiet, reserved boy trying to find his place in the world. That boy was Rowan Atkinson, born into a modest farming family in County Durham, England, with nothing about his early life suggesting the global fame that would later follow. At first glance, Rowan's childhood seemed peaceful. The countryside around him was calm, predictable, and structured, a place where life moved gently and without much disruption. But beneath that calm exterior, a deeply personal struggle was quietly unfolding. Around the age of 5, Rowan developed a severe stutter. Speaking, something most people take for granted, became a daily challenge. Words felt stuck, sentences broke apart, and even simple conversations turned into moments of pressure and discomfort. School, which should have been a place of learning and discovery, became something else entirely. It became a place of tension, a place where he felt exposed. Children, often quick to notice differences but slow to understand them, began to mock him. Some laughed, some called him strange, others went as far as calling him an alien. Among those who later reflected on those years was Tony Blair, who remembered just how difficult that environment was for Rowan. Imagine for a moment having thoughts, ideas, and feelings inside you, but feeling unable to bring them out clearly. Imagine wanting to speak, to connect, to simply be heard, yet feeling trapped behind your own voice. That was Rowan's everyday reality. It wasn't just about words, it was about identity, confidence, and belonging. But then, something unexpected began to happen. Whenever Rowan stepped onto a stage, whether it was for a small school play or a simple performance, everything changed. His stutter disappeared, completely. It was as if something within him shifted the moment he became someone else. The fear that once held him back faded away. The hesitation that once defined him lost its grip. In its place came something new: confidence, clarity, and control. On stage, Rowan didn't struggle to speak. He didn't feel trapped. Instead, he felt free. He didn't just say words, he embodied them. He became expressive in ways he had never been before. It was as though the stage unlocked a hidden version of himself, one that had been waiting quietly beneath the surface all along. Without fully realizing it at the time, Rowan had stumbled upon something powerful. What began as a simple escape from his difficulty slowly transformed into something much greater: a foundation, a turning point, the beginning of a path that would define his life. Because in that space, he discovered something truly unique. He didn't need words to communicate brilliantly. While others relied heavily on speech, Rowan began to master expression through movement, timing, and silence. What once felt like a limitation started to reshape itself into an advantage. There is something deeply fascinating about that transformation. The boy who struggled to speak becoming a man who would one day make the entire world laugh, often without saying much at all. It is a powerful contradiction, a reminder that sometimes our greatest challenges quietly carry the seeds of our greatest strengths. But at that time, Rowan wasn't thinking about global fame or legendary performances. He wasn't imagining the future or the millions who would one day admire his work. He was simply trying to navigate life the best way he knew how. So, like many disciplined and intelligent young individuals, he turned his focus toward academics. And in that space, structured, logical, and predictable, he began to excel. What was Rowan's life outside the screen like? What has his relationship been like? Let's find out. From marriage to new beginnings. In the late 1980s, a quiet but meaningful chapter in Rowan Atkinson's personal life began. While working at the BBC, he crossed paths with a talented makeup artist named Sunetra Sastry. Their meeting was not dramatic or unusual, but rather the kind of simple encounter that gradually grows into something deeper over time. As they spent more time together, their connection strengthened, built on shared experiences and mutual understanding. By February 1990, their bond had grown into a lifelong commitment. They decided to get married, marking the beginning of a new journey together. Their marriage brought stability and warmth into Atkinson's life, and over the years, they were blessed with 2 children. As a family, they created a home together in Apethorpe, a quiet and peaceful place where they could raise their children away from the constant attention that often surrounds public figures. Their children were raised with strong discipline and purpose, with their son Ben pursuing a distinguished military career in the Brigade of Gurkhas, reflecting courage and commitment. Over time, Atkinson and Sastry's long marriage faced change, and in 2013, he began a new relationship with Louise Ford after meeting her during a stage performance. As their relationship developed, it became clear that this connection was something significant for both of them. Louise Ford, at that time, was in a relationship with comedian James Acaster. However, her growing closeness with Atkinson led her to make a difficult decision. She chose to end her previous relationship in order to be with him. At the same time, Atkinson's own life was also changing. In 2014, he and his wife, Sunetra Sastry, decided to separate after many years of marriage. This separation marked the end of a long chapter in both of their lives. The following year, in 2015, their divorce was finalized, formally closing their marriage but leaving behind many years of shared history, memories, and a family they had built together. Despite the changes in his personal life, Atkinson continued to move forward. His relationship with Louise Ford continued to grow stronger over time, and together they welcomed a child, adding a new chapter to his journey as a father. This marked a fresh beginning as he balanced his life with his new partner and his responsibilities as a parent. Throughout these transitions, Atkinson's life reflects the complexities that many people experience: love, family, change, and new beginnings. His story shows how life can move in unexpected directions, with relationships evolving and new paths opening along the way. From meeting his first wife in a professional setting to building a family and later finding love again, his journey highlights the ever-changing nature of human relationships. In the end, his life story is not just about fame or career success, but also about personal growth, relationships, and the different seasons of life that shape who we become. But how did Rowan ascend to success? What was it like for him getting into the spotlights? Let's take a look at the details of his rise in fame. Fame, pressure, and the mask of laughter. Rowan Atkinson's success grew gradually through consistent effort rather than sudden fame. In 1979, he showcased his talent in The Atkinson People, portraying multiple characters with unique voices and styles. Though the show had a small audience, it revealed his creativity and potential, planting the seeds for his future breakthrough. Soon after, he moved into television with a show called Not the 9 O'Clock News. At first, things didn't go well. The show struggled to find viewers, critics were not kind. Some doubted whether it would survive at all. To many, it looked like another failed attempt, another dream slipping away. But then, something changed. The show was given another chance. And in that second chance, everything began to fall into place. Rowan started to find his rhythm. His confidence grew. His performances became sharper, funnier, and more natural. Working with talented actors like Pamela Stephenson and Mel Smith pushed him even further. Together, they created moments that audiences could not forget. One sketch in particular, Gerald the Gorilla, stood out. It was bold, wild, and completely unforgettable. It showed Rowan's fearless creativity and his willingness to take risks for the sake of humor. From that moment on, things began to shift. Rowan Atkinson was no longer just another struggling performer. He was becoming a name people remembered. He was rising. But with success came a new challenge. The pressure to always perform well, to always make people laugh, and to always meet high expectations began to weigh heavily on him. Acting was no longer just fun. It became demanding. The long hours, the constant need to be creative, and the emotional energy required began to take a toll. It was tiring in ways many people couldn't see. After Not the 9 O'Clock News ended, Rowan moved on to another major project, Blackadder, a show created with Richard Curtis. At first, like many great works, it didn't immediately take off, but over time, it grew stronger, smarter, and more refined. By the later seasons, Blackadder had become one of the most respected comedy shows in British television history. Rowan's role as Blackadder revealed a new side of his talent. He wasn't just funny. He was clever, sharp, and deeply expressive. His humor carried layers of meaning, mixing wit with intelligence in a way that made audiences both laugh and think. By 1989, in Blackadder Goes Forth, the show reached an unforgettable peak. It combined humor with deep emotional moments, something very rare in comedy. It left a lasting impression on viewers, proving that laughter and meaning could exist together. Then came the role that would define him forever, Mr. Bean. When Mr. Bean first appeared in 1990, it was something entirely new. The character spoke very little, yet said so much. He relied on actions, expressions, and physical humor to tell his story. And because of that, people from all over the world could understand him, no matter their language or background. Mr. Bean quickly became a global sensation. Millions watched the show. It was broadcast in over 200 countries. Movies were made. Toys, books, and other products spread across the world. Mr. Bean became one of the most recognizable characters in entertainment history. But behind the laughter, there was a reality few people saw. Playing Mr. Bean required intense effort. Rowan had to control every movement, every expression, every small detail. His body had to move in precise ways, often exaggerated yet carefully controlled. It was physical comedy at its highest level, and it demanded everything from him. It wasn't easy. It wasn't effortless. It was exhausting. After performances, Rowan often felt completely drained, physically, mentally, and emotionally. What looked simple on screen required deep focus and energy behind the scenes. And even more surprising, he didn't always enjoy it. There was pressure. There were expectations. And beneath it all, there was something deeper that had followed him for years. Self-doubt. Even as the world laughed and admired his work, Rowan quietly questioned himself. Was he truly talented? Did he really deserve all the attention and praise? Or was he, deep down, just someone pretending to be someone extraordinary? These quiet questions stayed with him, even as his success grew beyond anything he could have imagined. So, what do you think about Mr. Bean's educational background and family life? Could there have been anything else his fans wanted to hear? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.